I'm Anna Kachikin, and this is the Armenian Report. This is our third live podcast. We're coming back to you, and we're doing things a little differently. So along with our Instagram stories and our Facebook stories, where you get the daily news blurbs about Armenia, from Armenia, we also do these live podcasts. And we're doing things a little differently now because we're not doing this live. We're doing pre-recorded. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I realized that 98% of you did not watch our last two live. And so to avoid technical glitches and all that good stuff, we're going to do it pre-recorded, and you will watch it later on Facebook and YouTube, and hopefully soon on a podcast coming near you. If you missed our last podcast, by the way, almost 1 million people watched it on Facebook. It was with a first daughter, Maryam Pashinyan. Please go check it out, share it. I really appreciate all the support and the warm welcome that it has received. But with our third guest, this person is one of the most requested people that I was getting when I would put it out there, like, who do you want to hear from? And he is one of the most successful Armenian hip-hop artists that we all know of. His name is Armine. If you do not know who he is, you've been living under a rock. Armine is the only Armenian hip-hop artist, I think, that I know of that has made such a huge buzz in the hip-hop industry globally, and especially in the Armenian community. Before I bring Armine on, I need to introduce our first brand partner, Henry's House of Coffee, which, by the way, continues to be a huge supporter of the Armenian Report. Henry's House of Coffee is a family-owned business. They're based out of San Francisco, like I said, up north in California. And along with being coffee pros, they also have surch, Armenian coffee. And if you are pregnant or do not do caffeine like me, oh, by the way, I'm not trying to drop any hints. I'm not pregnant. I can't have caffeine. So they have Armenian decaf surch, and they're offering our viewers $5 off your first order if you go to surch.com, and I will place the banner ad on the thing. So you just take a screenshot of it and you'll have all the information there. You go to surch.com and you put TAR as a promo code, stands for The Armenian Report. Mom is also off camera having her surch over there. She is probably going to read my coffee cup afterwards. I'm not going to drink it right now because I don't want to ruin my lipstick, but I'm going to, oh my God, not spill it because, you know, super clumsy, but that's besides the point. Anyways, so Henry's House of Coffee, again, if you're gonna have coffee, please support Henry's House of Coffee. I just freaking love them. Hadog, Henry, I can't wait to have Henry on. I want to hear their story as well. So check them out, okay? Without any further ado, I want to bring Armine on, and I want to learn everything about Armine. And this interview is going to be very different for me because I've known Armine for many, many, many years, but there are so many things I do not know about Armine. So I want this to be like a sit back, getting to know Armine on a Sunday afternoon. Everything that I didn't know about him, I want to know about him now. And I hope that if you know who Armine is, you're going to learn a lot of new things about him, because you bet I'm going to ask questions that I want to know that you're going to not know the answers to. And also, if you don't know him, you want to get to know him. He is definitely someone in the community you definitely want to know. So let's bring Armine on. Hi, Armine. Welcome to the Armenian Report. I'm so happy to have you on. Finally, I get to learn all these things about you after all these years.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I think, so everyone I feel like wants to know this. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but Armine is your stage name. It's your hip-hop name. What's your birth name?
My real name is Armine too, actually. It's just spelled differently.
How do you spell it?
So it's not Armen. Half my DMs are people telling me how you doing Armen. But it's Armine, A-R-M-I-N. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I was probably 13, 14, I started spelling it as like R-mean just because I thought it was cool before I was even rapping. And then when I started doing music, I just kept that as my stage name. So it's really my real name spelled differently. You know what I mean?
That's really cool. It actually works out.
It worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
And, especially when I go on these other platforms, they always assume that Armine is like a play off Armenian, which is
There's
not.
that
It's,
too.
you know, but like the non-Armenians, that's kind of what they think. But I guess it all kind of works out. So, but it's really just my real name spelled different.
That's really cool. Are you from originally LA? Where are you from?
I was born right here in Glendale,
Oh.
Venice. But you know, I was less than a year old when my family moved to the Netherlands, in Europe. So I grew up over there. I always say I grew up in Amsterdam. I actually grew up a little bit outside of Amsterdam, but I usually say Amsterdam because like people get it easier.
Yeah.
When you say Holland or Netherlands, they kind of look at you weird. But yeah, I lived there for 18 years, and then after graduating high school, I moved back over here. My brother moved here first, then myself, and then my mom followed.
So you're
and then been
from
here ever since.
Okay, so you were born in Glendale because I know that you speak Dutch. Mom, help me. You speak
Dutch, yes,
Dutch.
yes.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah, Dutch.
Yeah.
Weirdly, like Dutch was actually my first language for a long time because obviously I grew up there for 18 years.
Okay.
Now it's kind of shifted to English. I was actually having a conversation with this Dutch producer a couple of days ago, and I realized I'm kind of getting stuck sometimes with my Dutch.
No.
I literally translate from English. You know what I mean? That's kind of how my Armenian is too. Like we literally translate.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, Dutch was my first language for the first part of my life, for sure.
So can you kind of describe to us what it was like moving to the States and your transition of learning English? Because we all have a story. Like I have stories. I used to get made fun of,
Right.
you know, being in ESL and all that. Like I think I want people to relate to you. Like you're 18. Like I was 10. You were 18. What was that transition like moving to the United States?
Yeah, to be honest, oddly, I never had the ESL issue. I always spoke English. Obviously not as fluent maybe, but like in Europe, in school, like everybody learns English, first of all.
Okay.
The school system is really good. So we definitely learn English. And then, you know, I always kind of felt like an American kid. So I don't know. I said also through music and through TV and also through traveling over here. So we used to visit. So it's kind of weird. My family's all over the place. So my dad's side of the family all lived in Holland. My mom's side of the family all lived in LA.
Okay.
And they originally came from Iran. So that's kind of how I ended up, you know, being born in LA and raised in Amsterdam. But we used to visit over here. So we used to come here, not every summer, but like my mom's side of family, she has a big family, you know, like 6 siblings. So a lot of uncles, aunts, they used to send us like flight tickets and stuff. We used to visit here. So kind of growing up and being here over this, you know, several summers, I kind of knew like I wanted to move here, you know, eventually. I have one older brother.
Okay.
And then just my mom. My dad passed away early. I was 1 year old and my brother was 3.
I didn't know that. You know, okay.
Yeah. So it was just the 3 of us basically. My mom, my brother. My mom never remarried or anything. So
So your mom was a single mom.
Weird because even though yeah, absolutely. So my mom's been a single mom, and even though all her relatives lived out here in LA, my dad's side all lived in Holland. You know. She still somehow decided to stay there even after he passed away. You know what I mean? And she actually really liked it there. And I guess just the way the country's set up, it's kind of easier for a single mom in like a European country. You know what I mean? Yeah. Than America. So I think that was one of the reasons. And also she probably it was kind of a sudden thing. So I think she just wanted to stay close to him and his family and stuff. So yeah, that's how we were raised over there. But we did used to like visit here. So long story short, I didn't really have the ESL struggle. That's what I was saying.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know
when did the whole music thing like start for you? You know, I have my thing. It's like, when did the whole journalism thing begin for me? When did the whole music thing start for you?
Pretty early on. As long as I can remember, I just been really into music. You know what I mean? I was always the kid performing at like family gatherings and stuff. You know what I mean?
But hip hop specific or just music?
Not specifically hip hop, but I think around the age of like 9, 10, I started kind of, you know, gravitating more towards rap music, not really understanding it, but just the feeling of it and, you know what I mean, the powerful expression, something that I just liked, I guess, being kind of introverted naturally, it kind of just spoke to me, you know. So, but I was just a fan really into my high school years. So around the age of like, I would say 16, 17 is when I kind of started just rapping for fun.
This is in Netherlands.
Myself. Yeah, but just for fun. So I wouldn't even tell my friends or family, anyone. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of to myself. I was almost like embarrassed to say it in a weird way because, you know, it's not today. Hip hop is so universal and kind of everybody does it, and in every country and in every language. You know what I mean? But like even just 10, 12 years ago, it wasn't like that. You know? So
what was it like back then, though? But like, what was?
I'm saying like it was just being Armenian and then being in like the Netherlands. Like there were no rappers that had, you know, that came from where I came from.
So who were you listening to? Like what hip hop artists were you guys listening to back there? Is it American artists?
Oh, yeah, 100% American artists. Like hip hop wasn't as universal. So everyone from, you know, the classic hip hop. So from like Nas and Wu-Tang, and that was what I was into, and like Tupac and Biggie and stuff when I learned from them, and then like Eminem and 50 Cent and that whole era, you know?
Gotcha.
So yeah, we just listened to all that, but kind of just more as a fan and not really thinking that I was going to be doing that or be a part of it in any way. But you know, just like every other kid, it starts as a passion, and you love something a lot, and then you kind of start doing it for fun as a hobby, and then you start taking it more and more serious, you know? So by the time I was going to move here, I realized like, maybe I can do this, but I wouldn't want to do it in Holland because there's no real market. It's like a small country.
Yeah.
And I already felt more at home in like LA. So I was like, I'm going to go to LA and like figure it out.
Why do you think you felt more at home with LA when you spent 18 years of your first beginning of your life in Netherlands? Yeah. Why do you think that?
The way the society is set up, the best way I could describe it in Europe, at least when I was growing up, it's like, obviously it's predominantly white. And then there's a lot of like Middle Eastern refugees, most of them. And they kind of, you know, just within, they kind of looked at us as they had an actual name for us, like translated would be like foreigners. So we would be the foreigners, you know?
Like Odad?
Like, actually, like Odad, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we were the foreigners. There was like not a lot of Armenians at all. Yeah. Actually, there's like a lot of Turkish people in the Netherlands, and a lot of like a lot of Moroccan.
Oh, I have a question. What was the relationship like with the Turkish people and the Armenians in Netherlands?
So there was very few Armenians. First of all, like literally like maybe 5,000-6,000 in the entire country. I think by now it's kind of like doubled or tripled, but it's still not a lot. But then hundreds of thousands of Turkish people. So there is no real relationship except the few people that know an Armenian like myself, you know?
So what happens if I wear this shirt there?
I don't know, because, you know, I haven't really been back since I wore it. But the thing was that, because I had Turkish friends, you know, not my closest friends weren't Turkish, but I interacted with a lot of Turkish people. And like the surprising thing was, because we grow up learning about this, right? About the genocide and everything.
Yeah.
The surprising thing was no one had any clue about anything. No one, you know, a lot of them didn't even know what an Armenian is, you know, and if they knew, it was just some country they heard of. Yeah. But they, for sure, at least the people I met, and there's a lot of them, they had never even heard of a genocide or anything, you know? So, yeah, so it's kind of not what you would think in a weird way. But if you really think about it, you know, that's just the general population, and a lot of them been outside of Turkey for a while, and like, it's not the government that we're fighting against. You know what I mean? So it's kind of different. And that was my experience, at least, and a lot of the few Armenian friends from there that I have, they had this similar experience with Turkish people. Like they would just, you know, they didn't even know. You know what I mean? So it wasn't really even an issue of discussion with them.
Gotcha. So, so you're 18, you decide to move to LA, and you're feeling, you know, hip hop and music and all that stuff. When was your first like lyrical experience? Like, was it writing or was it singing? Was it rapping? Like, what was your first experience? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, it was definitely just writing raps down, you know, and kind of just rapping in my own room, you know, to like instrumental famous rappers beats. That I could find instrumentals, and I would just kind of rap over them. And then little by little, just starting to record myself, you know what I mean? But the first thing really is when I moved over here, I met this dude. His name was Carlos, but he was Armenian. And he went by the name Blind, because he was like he was like almost 10 years older than me, and he was like an ex-gangbanger.
I remember him, by the way.
Yeah. So
What
he quickly.
What
Well,
happened to Blind?
he quickly kind of became my best friend. He was one of the
Okay.
first like friends I really had in America.
Okay.
And you know, he was kind of like a beginning producer, starting to make beats. I was like a beginning rapper, and we kind of just connected on that. And we just started making songs in his like bedroom.
And he was
and then
like fully blind?
fully blind. Yeah, he was fully blind. Actually, the day that I met him, I didn't even know. So someone was introducing me to him. So I went over to his house, and I walk into to his bedroom, and it was like pitch dark. And I'm like, and then I hear he's sitting there, and he's like, "What's up, man?" You know, I'm like, "Why is it dark?" And then like a couple seconds later, like he realized it. So he's like, "Yo, let me get the light for you," you know. And he switched it on, and I realized like he was, and then he put his hand out, like, "What's up?" But I was standing like kind of on this side. So like I noticed like, oh, this guy's completely blind. And then obviously later I learned about, you know, he was just, you know, in the 90s, you know, gangbanging was heavy in LA. And even him being an Armenian from Glendale, he got involved with like the Pasadena Bloods. And he was victim of a drive-by shooting. So he got shot, obviously survived, but he completely lost his eyesight.
Yeah.
So that was my first kind of connection that I've started making songs, like actual songs, putting them together, and we were both just kind of learning as we were going, you know.
Would you say Blind was the first person to kind of encourage you, like saw your talent and was encouraging you, or you had other people before him that kind of pushed you?
100% he was the first, yeah.
And why do you think you believed him?
I think I was just looking for someone to encourage me. You know, I came to this like big city. I had family here, but no one my age, right? So I had like uncles and aunts and grandpa and stuff like that. And my cousins were way younger than me. So, you know, I didn't know anybody. And my brother was here, but we're very different in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's not into hip hop. He's not really into music, period. Definitely not into hip hop. So
does he like movies? Is he like a movie buff?
I mean, I guess he's not really into the arts. He's not really as creative. You know what I mean? We're really close. We're really close, but we polar opposites in a lot of our interests.
Very different. You know why I'm asking? I'm asking because I love to ask people this question. So when you said he's not into music, I thought of this question was, if you were stranded on an island and you could have all the music in the world ever created, or all the movies that were ever created, what would you choose to bring on this island with you?
That's crazy. For me, it's music.
For you, it's music, yes.
Definitely if I have access to everything.
But that's why I was like, would your brother pick movies if he's not into music?
He would definitely, I would say he would definitely pick movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would definitely pick movies.
The argument, someone made a really good argument to that was, he's a friend of mine, he was like, well, movies have music, so if I pick movies, I'm going to have music and movies. And I thought, that's true.
That's pretty genius.
But with music, I feel like I would have all this creativity to envision my own movies in my head instead of watching a movie that's very specific and watch that story only. So when you said that, I thought of that question. So if you guys are different, then you would choose different ones.
I guess good thing we don't really have to apply that question, but I guess that's how I would answer it. I would say music.
Yeah, music.
You know? A lot of people used to always ask me, would you rather be deaf than blind? Because my best friend was blind. And,
that's a good question too.
That's another interesting question, you know? I think after seeing him, I would probably, most people say I would rather be deaf. But after seeing him, obviously, plus my love for music, it would definitely be rather be blind. But
that makes sense.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But
I'm a visual person, I think. Okay. We're all over the place. It's like, So your childhood.
We were talking about not having anyone to support. Yeah, it's just like, no one I don't have anyone in my family that was like in the entertainment field or into music or anything like that. So, he was definitely the first one to kind of believe, and we kind of believed in each other in a way, you know?
Yeah.
And it was his idea. The name Pentagon, like now that we have Pentagon Records, which is our label, and like our stores, the Pentagon LA, that was him. That was his idea. Me and him started it and brought it to life, but it was his idea. So shout out to Blind.
You're talking about Blind in the past tense. Is he no longer with us?
Oh no, he definitely is. He's no longer involved. No, God forbid. He's no longer. He's no longer doing music, and he's no longer, active with us.
Gotcha.
And to be honest, we kind of lost touch over the years.
Gotcha.
But he was an integral part of my first, many years in America.
I gotcha.
And doing music.
Okay.
He also produced Open Wounds, by the way. The song Open Wounds, he made that beat. So
all right, I want you to talk. I want you to tell me about that.
For sure.
I'm going to get to it because you've been in the hip hop industry for a notable number of years now, and you have become a regular on Power 106. You started this crazy campaign called Mean Mondays, where you said, where you were like this is what Armine said. Every Monday he dropped a new track for a year straight, called it Mean Mondays, which, by the way, for branding purposes, that's genius.
Thank you.
And I freaking love that. It's so smart. And you are also the face of a very strong, powerful, influential movement called the Our Wounds Are Still Open. Open Wounds 1915, the project that you started. And our second brand partner is Open Wounds, and I'm so happy that Open Wounds happens to be our second brand partner while you're on, because I'm going to be talking about Open Wounds and you're going to be on camera just kind of validating everything I'm going to be saying about Open Wounds. So if anyone watching does not know or has never heard of Open Wounds is a nonprofit organization that Armine and the Pentagon LA family started, and it's a genius idea because what it's done is it has incorporated the young children, junior high kids, high school kids, college kids, Armenians that look up to Armine and are like, wow, so influenced by Armine, but at the same time have now become a part of a huge way of recognizing and remembering the importance of the Armenian Genocide recognition. And it's so simple. You created the logo. Our wounds are still open. You have this wording, and we all wear it, and we all feel like we're all a part of this community. And I keep reiterating it because it's so important for the kids to want to be a part of the movement, right? It's with social media and all of that. Like, it's so vital. We're coming up to April. Now, actually, we're in April. Might as well. Today is March 31st, but with April 24 coming up, if you do not have the shirt or any of the gears, or you're not representing, I encourage you to be a part of the Open Wounds movement. And you can go to their website, openwounds1915.com, and Tina from Pentagon LA is offering us 25% off. So you go to, and I'll put the banner up for everyone to see. You go to openwounds1915.com, and the promo code is the Armenian Report 25. You get 25% off your order. So if you have a new family member, I know you got a new baby, get everyone geared up, join the movement, be a part of this, this move, and not just only on April 24 or the month of April. Like, for example, my personal story is, I find it that it's not just about talking about the Armenian Genocide or the importance of the recognition of the Armenian Genocide with Armenians. I find it's really crucial to do this with non-Armenians. And so, for example, on the day of the centennial, 100-year recognition, remember the march, all the street closures? So there's no way I could get an Uber, right? Like, impossible. So I remember
especially that year. Yeah.
It was impossible. I remember I got so many docked for Uber because I was trying to get one, because I was trying to catch a flight. So I ran home, got my suitcase, ran to LAX, and I was in full Open Wounds gear, right? Like, I have my hoodie, I have my shirt, I have the hat, like I'm in full Open Wounds. So I get to LAX, everyone's asking me about what it is. So I'm talking to them about what it is. And then I'm in the airplane and I'm having a full conversation on my way to Sacramento about Open Wounds and the Armenian Genocide. I get to Sacramento, I'm having a conversation there. We get picked up, we're headed to Napa Valley, but I was going to Napa Valley with my TMZ coworker. And so the family that was hosting us, they're like, oh, what are you wearing? So we have a full-blown conversation over wine about Open Wounds and the Armenian Genocide. And so for me, it was really important. That's what it does. You wear it, and
that's exactly what it does.
Yeah. So that was my personal like, I love that story and I have so many of them, but to me, I was like, shoot, like, I hit LAX, I hit the air, I hit Sacramento, I hit Napa Valley, like, it was all over the place, and it was really important. Like, that's why I make a point to kind of wear it as a graphic tee over like blazers and stuff, so that people can look and be like, oh, what is that? And you know, for me, branding is really important, and I know how it works, and even just seeing it, and then later on seeing it on April 24th, they put the 2 and 2 together.
I'm really happy you said that specific thing, because that's literally what the whole idea was, and what made it grow is just me, myself, wearing it the first couple of days that we printed like 40 t-shirts for us, and just being stopped everywhere I went constantly. Just random people asking me, oh, what is that? That's a dope shirt. What does that mean? What does that mean? And we're like, yo, this really became like a tool to educate people. You know what I mean?
And you have the song too, to go with it.
Right.
Genius.
No, of course. And that's how it all started. So to explain, to take it back from the start, is, of course, it all starts with the music, with everything I do. Being a hip hop artist, and being, you know, from being Armenian, and hip hop being the voice of the people, the voice of the struggle, right? Originally, that's how the whole genre was created.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, us not having any Armenians really on that level in hip hop, I was like, it's only right. I got to tell the story of my people. So really, I just did one song. You know, people that are familiar with my music know I'm not rapping about, like Armenian things a lot, you know, generally. It's really just universal music, but I touch on things. And of course, there's elements in the music. So, but this one song was like, you know, directly about the Armenian Genocide. If I go on more platforms, I always explain that it's really about crimes against humanity, but specifically about the Armenian Genocide. And, you know, the first thing that was a success is really just the song. You know, sometimes something magical just happens when you're creating music, and you know, like certain songs, you just know, sometimes you just know when you have a hit on your hands, you know, and it's not a hit record as far as like it's on Kiss FM and Power 106, you know, like a party hit single in the mainstream that we usually say, oh, he has a hit, but it's still a hit song, you know, it's like an amazing song. So first of all, the song just became really popular, first, of course, in our community, but the main thing that we realized is, like, every non-Armenian fan I have, when you ask them what's your favorite song, they always mention Open Wounds also, because it touches everybody, you know, everybody relates to it. You know, every other race has been through similar, not exactly the same, but there's parts of our story that they can relate to, right? Yeah. So the song, you know, kind of blew up on its own. And then I had this idea of, like, we should create a t-shirt with it. And we should do a video for the song, and we should create a t-shirt with it. And, you know, all within like 1 week, we thought of this, of like, yeah, let's do a t-shirt, let's wear it in the video, and then let's put out the video. And that can all kind of add to, you know, spreading this message. Because the thing was, when I moved to LA, and one thing me and my brother did always have in common is, like, you know, being interested in our Armenian heritage and being involved in the community. And, you know, so when I moved here, he was already involved in like the ASAs, and he was the president of ASA. So he would drag me into, you know, kind of get involved in that. And we used to go to these genocide commemoration events. And to be honest with you, I was extremely bored. You know, I was there, and there's also always a bunch of politicians and, you know, a bunch of speakers. And here and there, someone would say a poem, or someone would kind of perform something. It was never really a super professional musician. It was just, you know, and, you know, everyone did their best. But me as an 18-year-old was sitting there bored. And secondly, I would see that there's not too many 18-year-olds there at all. You know, no one really cared. So, you know, spreading a message through any art form, whether it's a movie or something, like, I learned about the Jewish Holocaust more from Schindler's List than from any history book or anything else, you know? So I always felt like music and movies and stuff like that, that's how people learn a lot. So that was my first thing, to create the song, you know, hip hop can reach the youth, can get the youth excited, and can reach all the non-Armenians, you know?
Yeah, so, that's really smart.
And then we took it a step further with the video, and that all just really happened organically. So we said, you know, let's put Our Wounds Are Still Open, which is really my lyrics from the song. Like, that's how I end the song. That's why Our Wounds Are Still Open, on the t-shirt. And we just came up with this cool design that's a derivative of our logo. If you know the Pentagon logo, I mean, I have it on my arm. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's these kind of like these lines, and we said like, let's make the t-shirt connect to the logo, and it kind of just came together like an amazing shirt. Like, who doesn't like, you know, just a dope shirt with a powerful message, you know?
Yeah.
So, and you know, we just put the video out, and all of a sudden our inboxes started just going crazy. Everyone asking about where can they get that shirt. You know, it wasn't really a planned thing. We just said, you know, it's just a shirt to go. It's just a piece of merch. You know, when you put out music, whoever, you know, you're a fan of, they always have like a t-shirt to go with their single, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but it has it has a meaningful cause behind it. It's not just merch.
And that, no, absolutely. And that's the X factor, you know, that's what made it so much more powerful and amazing. So yeah, and then it just started growing, you know, so we just realized like this is growing way faster than we kind of anticipated. And then we started giving it to whatever influencers we knew, you know, mainly in the hip hop game, because that was our focus. And, you know, it kind of just blew into this thing that it is right now.
How were you able to take a sad piece of your history and connect it through the entertainment industry? Like, was it hard? Like, do you think like if the movement was something, you know, positive or happy, it would have been easier? Or like, did it make it, like, what was that connection?
I mean, yes and no, because even though it's a sad thing, it also has like a celebratory vibe of we are still here and we survived all that, and we just, you know, we are thriving, and we, you know what I mean, we all over the world, and we successful, and we survived this, and we, you know, and at the same time, you know, sad things, usually I would say, you know, good art is based on, you know, struggle, you know, and good music and things that really affect people and change people's lives. I think music is the most powerful medication for a lot of people, you know, to get through certain things. And I see that from the messages and stuff that I get from people that listen to my music. And that's always the most humbling thing, when people tell me, you know, this song or this album or whatever really helped me through this and this and this struggle, you know? So, you know, it has its own kind of a lane, because it won't make it to like the largest platforms, you know, like the Power 106s and stuff, because that's just a different, but it doesn't mean it's difficult. It's just kind of its own thing, you know, its own lane.
How has hip hop embraced your Armenian roots?
Pretty good the last few years, you know. I would say hip hop has evolved also. So we still don't have like an Armenian and like mainstream hip hop, but just the last few years we've started seeing different nationalities. So we had, obviously it's a African American culture, so we have blacks, we have Latinos from the very beginning, and we had a white rapper here and there. Of course, Eminem kind of made that mainstream, and after that we see a lot of successful white rappers. But we kind of fall into like that middle ground where the white people don't consider as white and the black people don't consider as black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and like a lot for a long time, the industry kind of didn't know how to market that. And hip hop is a lot about where you from. So hip hop is a lot about, you know, everyone talks about where they from all the time in their songs, right? So, you know, Jay-Z says Brooklyn every single song, or like, you know what I mean? Kendrick Lamar talks about Compton. So like, that's part of like hip hop. So it's, you know, I had a lot of questions like early on. I had a lot of talks with like industry people, and they were like, we don't really know how to market that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. What is an Armenian? But I think the whole world has evolved with social media and stuff, and hip hop has evolved. And we have people like French Montana and DJ Khaled, and people that, you know, they're different nationalities, Palestinian and Moroccan, and we kind of look like that. And like, it's being embraced more. So the borders are kind of being blurred more in hip hop. Hip hop is the biggest genre of music, period, now in the world. So yeah, I think so more and more races are definitely being embraced, you know?
Would you say being Armenian is a big part of your brand image, or no?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And it kind of happened. Well, at first it kind of happened organically, because it's just like, well, Open Wounds kind of blew up, and that got attached to me, you know, obviously. So it was like the guy that did the Armenian Genocide song, so obviously he's Armenian. But also just being kind of the first one on my level, and when I go into these rooms and like, they always ask where you from, and when I say Armenian, and they get to know me as, the dude that was Armenian, you know, because there's a million rappers. There's not a million, there's 100 million rappers out there, right? So like, I just kind of became that, but I also embraced it because, like I said, it's just so hip hop to represent where you're from, you know. And we have a story that's not told to the entire world, so I always wanted to tell it, you know. So it was, yeah, it was kind of like an organic thing that happened, and it worked, you know. And I'm proud to represent it. So
yeah, I mean, that's the
absolutely.
best when it happens organically, because
Right.
it's genuine, it's true, it comes from passion, you know, from a
Right.
genuine place.
Right.
I have a question for you. I don't know, you might know, you might not know, but is there a Turkish rapper in the hip hop community that like raps against the Armenian genocide?
I have no idea.
You'd have no idea.
I don't know of any Turkish rappers. I'm sure there are.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if there's any Turkish rappers that rap like in English, like on a level where we would all kind of know about them. I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. It's been kind of surprising because a lot of Turkish people that I know a lot of people do know about the genocide, but a lot of Turkish people that I've come across, they were kind of like, they didn't really know, like we had to educate them. You know what I mean? So, but I'm sure there are, but I haven't heard of any especially rapping against the genocide. No.
Gotcha. I would love to see you just battle with one of them.
Yeah, I guess. I think that might go further than just like a rap battle.
No, not like not a denier. Sorry, I should have specified. Not a denier, but
okay.
like just an Armenian, like
Right.
you know. I would love to watch you obliterate one of them. Sorry, wishful thinking.
That's funny. Gangsta, and I kind of gangsta. I don't know if people know that about you.
It would be very entertaining to watch. I don't think anyone would dare, especially in LA. But you know, I'd love to see it.
Right.
But a lot of young children look up to you. You know, especially kids in junior high schools and high schools. You have become a big, like a mentor, big brother to a lot of these kids. And with that, I'm sure comes the children who want to step into hip hop, want to become rappers, want to become, you know, lyricists, and they're into poetry and they're into hip hop. What advice do you have for these kids who do want to step into a very competitive, brutal industry that you have paved the way all these years for these kids?
Yeah. It's definitely a competitive industry, but I'm a firm believer of teaching like young kids that first of all, everything is possible with hard work and dedication, and especially in our community. Our parents, they don't really support, at least from what I've experienced and what I see, is they don't really support you pursuing a career in the arts. You know, we all taught be a doctor, be a lawyer, and even myself, like I went to school. I graduated from UCLA, and then I went on to pharmacy school, and I graduated from pharmacy school. And then I was working as a pharmacist, and I realized finally that, you know, I always was doing music in between, and I had some, you know, accolades and stuff, but it wasn't going to the level that I wanted. And I just realized when you have a plan B, you know, when you want to achieve something this extreme, and because entertainment, like you said, is very competitive. And if you want to really make it in this industry, but really in any industry, it just takes 100% dedication, you know? So that's my main thing is like, if you're really passionate about something,
then don't have a plan B.
Don't have a plan B. Just go full force, you know?
Yeah.
Something to fall back on. That's what I was taught, to be honest. You know what I mean? And that's probably unconsciously why I went to school, thinking I can juggle both. But if you really think about it, like which really successful musician is also like a doctor, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't work like that, you know? So,
yeah.
And I see a lot of young artists come up to me, and when I tell them, they almost look at me like shocked, like you telling me I should not go to, like I should drop out of school. And like, I'm all about education. Education is important, but going to school just to go to school doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So go ahead.
What if they're like 16 or 18? Do you think at that age they already can?
I'm not saying dropping out of school is the key here. So yeah, let me not say it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
First of all, you should 16. I mean, you should definitely get a high school diploma just because you're general. You know what I mean? And I think getting your bachelor's in college is great just for your general knowledge, and you know what I mean. But if you really if you're sure and really passionate about what you want to do, like I know I was at that age, you know, you should, you know, be able to fully dedicate yourself and
How do
figure it
you
out in a way.
know?
It's really,
How do you know how do you know it's for sure? Is it when you're willing to
you
like
know,
be homeless? Like what
no,
you're willing to
it's when you,
sacrifice? How do you know?
an artist knows that they want to be an artist at heart. You know, like
Okay.
I wake up every morning only thinking about music, and I go to sleep only. That's all I really care for, if that makes any sense. You know, like
Yeah.
of course my family, my close friends, whatever, but like I don't really care for anything else. So you know, like most musicians, we have this like obsession, really. You know what I mean? It's like a or maybe unhealthy obsession with something that's all you really care for, you know.
Yeah.
And most people know that. If they don't have, if you don't know that, if you don't have that, then you'll know that it's just kind of like you want to be part of what's cool or whatever, and that fades away. You know, you'll do it for a year, couple years, and it goes away. But if you see that you've been doing this for a while and this is really, you know, all you really care for, and you just don't see yourself doing anything else or anything else, because I ended up working as a pharmacist and literally quitting. Like while I'm a pharmacist, I was just looking around and I'm like, this is just not what I want to do with my life. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
it's a respected profession and all that, and you can make great money. You know what I mean? But that's not what would make me happy. So really, my only advice to people is, if you know, and you only you really know, not your parents. You know, they probably giving you the opposite advice, not your siblings, not even your friends. If you really know, you know, and you need to just believe in yourself and go for it. You know.
And
Will
what
Will
about
Smith said
yes?
Will Smith always said, like, you know, having a plan B just means you didn't believe in your plan A, you know, and I really really believe that.
Yeah, I agree. What about the parents of these children? I feel like these parents
The,
could be
the,
anywhere between 30 to 45, right?
yeah,
Like the parents of these, like, what do you say? Like, what do you say to these parents, like young parents who have a young child who's like, this is what I want to do,
it's
and
I understand it's difficult, you know, and I don't have any kids, but you know, as a parent, I'm sure you just want um, something that's more for sure, and you know what I mean. But if you care for your child to be happy versus, you know, just make enough money to really live an average life, because even, yeah, I
yeah,
mean, you'll drive a nicer car and have a nicer house if you have like a PhD or of some sort, but it's still just a regular life. And if that makes you happy, that's great. But if you have a child that, you know, something else makes them happy, and that's what fulfills them, you should just support it. And with support, we always say it's competitive, but 90% of people competing for that spot don't have that support. You know what I'm saying? So you will outcompete them. You know what I mean? So that's just my thing. You know, I firmly believe, and it's not easy, but parents usually hold us back by being overprotective. You know, and I see this all the time. Like I see it right now. There's a few artists that I'm trying to work with, and it's literally they in school because his mom is gonna have, you know, he's just gonna throw a fit. Like he can not do that, and he can't. You know, I'm not saying drop out of school. How about we take a semester off and focus on this album and see what we could do with it? And they're just scared because we've just been programmed not to. You know what I mean? And you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
that's why I became. You know, for me, it kind of worked out when I look at it where I'm at now. You know, I'm not working as a pharmacist, but like I own a pharmacy, and it's kind of like side income, and it's, you know, it kind of worked out in a way. But if I hadn't done the next Kendrick Lamar or something, you know, and that's what I believe and where my level of talent is. But I didn't have the dedication because I was half my time I was in school, and then I was at, you know, my family functions, and you know, we in the Armenian community, we can't miss, you know, any of our uncles' birthdays, and our mom needs this, and our brother needs this, and our brother's kids need
yeah,
this. And you know, the fact is, if you want to reach something that extreme, you
yeah,
can't be the best artist in the world and be the best, you know, I don't know, son to your mom, and uncle to the kids,
yeah,
and cousin to the cousins, and be out with your friends because they go out every weekend, and you can't do everything. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So
You have to be
if
able
you
to
want to,
sacrifice.
you need to sacrifice. So if you want to, you know, go out with your friends every weekend, then you're going to have the life that your friends are having or what their goals are. Just look around you and see, you know what I mean? Just surround yourself with people that have like-minded goals, and you'll have fun while you're working. You know, like what we do now is we work super hard every day, but I'm having so much fun, you know, more fun than going out with the other friends I used to go out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
because it's not work. It doesn't feel
you'll
like work.
enjoy it so much more because it doesn't feel like you're working, but you're working constantly. You know, it's
Yeah.
really just any entrepreneurial. You know what I mean? Any entrepreneur has the same struggle. Being an artist is being an entrepreneur. You know? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it is.
So as far as the music industry goes, we kind of briefly touched on how much it has changed over the course of the years. What has been like what are the pros and cons of the music industry to kind of bounce from, you know, kids who want to step into the industry, like the pros and cons of today, like where the industry is now?
I mean, of course, with technology, a lot of things have changed where you don't need much help. So you can, you know, everyone can do it on their own or find a little team and do it, right? So you can put out your music on your own. It doesn't cost a lot of money to record anymore. You don't need to go rent big studios. You don't need to pay a bunch of money to shoot music videos. Excuse me. So everything is kind of doable on your own. You don't need a record deal, you know, like back in the day, everyone was just trying to get signed, and that would mean that you have a chance at making it, you know? So that's gone, which is great. But you know, the other end of that is because it's so much easier to do, everyone thinks they can do it. So everyone is a rapper, everyone's a producer. So it's so saturated. It was always difficult to make it. I'm sure back in the 80s, 90s, it was difficult too. But the competition has literally like millionfold right now. So, you know, there's always pros and cons to everything. You know what I mean? But if you just focus and understand how to build a brand and understand that it's important to have a team, you know, that was one of my things. Like once I was able to find the right people to have a team and like-minded people to understand their role in the team.
So important.
And their roles in the team. And, you know, I could focus on what I do. The other person focuses on the other things and, you know, just go for it. You know what
How
I mean?
long did that take? How long? Because there are a lot of people who are trying and they're pushing and they know, but they know that they're just not around the right group of people. And sometimes it takes a long time to put a team together, to have people you trust. Like, how long did that take you? And did you at any point lose patience, or what was that transition for you?
It took me. It took me. But I came from where we were kind of in between this, right? So all these changes kind of happened in this last decade, like extremely. So we were kind of learning as we go. Today, I think the 16-year-old today, there's like Shark Tank on TV, and there's like Gary Vee coming through his Instagram feed, and like they learn a lot more about just entrepreneurship and surround yourself with the right people. Everything we were just talking about, I think they learn it at a little bit of an earlier age now. So everyone has that hustler mentality already. It's kind of the era of the entrepreneur today, regardless. Or even in music, we say it's the era of like the independent artist. People are not really looking to get like, it's almost kind of looked at as corny if you get a major record deal. You know, it's way cooler if you made it on your own. You know what I'm saying? In hip hop. So those things, those values are kind of like ingrained in like the new generation, you know? So, but to me, it kind of took long, and it will take long. And they say on average, it takes about 10 years to make it in music. You know, that's like the average. So of course, there's people like a Lil Pump or something that puts out his first song and it blows up. And like, you know, those people usually won't last as much because they don't really master their craft. But if you look at, you know, the household names of today, a Drake or, you know what I mean, a J. Cole or whoever it is, like they've been doing this probably easily a decade before their first like major breakthrough, you know? And building a team is just kind of, I think I realized I had the wrong people around me. I think a little later than the teenager of today would realize it. You know what I'm saying? Just the way that we think. I was just trying to be loyal to my friends and have them in my crew instead of realizing like this person is holding me back. This guy's holding me back. I'm not being loyal to myself if this guy's holding me back, and I'm trying to be loyal to him if he's not being, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's nothing, you need to understand that there's nothing wrong with putting your passion and your career first. I'm not saying fuck people over, but I'm saying the people around you, find ways of incorporating your friends if there are ways, and if they're not, then they just friends, you know, and go find the people that can help you build that team, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it kind of just organically happened. When you're working and you're constantly working, It's all about consistency in music. People come to you. They always start as fans. Everyone that's around me, they were just a fan of music, or they knew someone that was really a fan of me. And you know, like Tina, you mentioned earlier, we always joke because Tina was never really an Armine fan before joining the team, but all her cousins and all her friends, yeah, she always says, my whole life, all my cousins, my friends, they were always talking about Armine, but I didn't really care. But then when she met us, you know, she has more of a business background. She met us and she just saw the dedication and our passion and what we're doing. Me and Alex Cotto, who's our other partner. You know, she kind of fell in love and became a fan of that and wanted to be a part of it. Yeah. You know, Alex, on the other hand, my other partner, with 3, you know, partners in this, he was just a fan from the very beginning. And he used to be in film school, so he used to come around and he told me, like, yo, can I just come film your shows and your this and that, you know? So he really became part of my original team just as the film guy, you know? And then, you know, and then we just realized, like, he's so much more because he was smarter than everybody else in the team. And he had way bigger vision than everybody else, including myself. And he just kind of, you know, worked his way up. And me and him literally became the two to start this whole thing over a few years ago. Yeah. And then Tina joined, and then now we're here where we are. So
I love the work you guys are doing. Congratulations on the second store.
Thank you very much. Yeah, they say a triangle offense, like 3 people is kind of a magical number. You know what I mean? Jay-Z came up with his 2 partners. Drake came up with his 2 partners. It's like, it's something about 3, you know, but it just kind of organically happened. So.
And I love what you said, just to kind of reiterate, especially for like the young people watching, is these things don't happen overnight. You know, you know, you didn't just hear about Armine. Like, Armine has been writing like lyrics and music for years and years and years. There's been a lot of work put into it. It just doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's many
years of me just rapping to the mirror on a Saturday night, just trying to get my freestyle game right, or my just perfecting the craft, you know. And it is important to say that, because I get sometimes when we have events and stuff where I post, I'm gonna be at my store, I'm gonna be somewhere, and like people come to like talk to me, and I literally had someone, you know, this young, like, you know, someone who wants to be an artist, and he came and he, you know, I was telling him like, yo, you gotta, you know, because he let me hear some of his. A lot of times they hit me up and they let me hear like their first song ever or their second song, and they want me to give an opinion. And it's like, I can tell this is your first song, you know, like I don't have an opinion to give you right now, because you need to learn and master and find yourself and find your lane. And like, and literally the kid's answer to me was like, but what about Lil Pump? That's why I brought him up earlier. Yeah. Because he was 17, and I don't know how long he had been doing it, but the story that we know, at least, is like he just recorded a song in his bedroom and he put it on SoundCloud, and the shit just blew up. And that just, it could happen. It's not that it can't happen, but it doesn't happen much, you know? So, you know, that might be you, and that'd be amazing for you. But that's probably not what's going to happen. You shouldn't count on that. You know, you should count on just doing it because you love it, you know? If I never make it bigger than this, I'm still going to be doing music, you know? If I, you know, this is what I used to do on my free time. So I don't, you know, and if you have that passion, then you already know what it is. If you don't have that, if that sounds weird to you, then you're probably not going to be doing this in a couple years. You might as well not waste your time, you know?
Exactly. What's the best advice you ever got from your family?
That's a good question, because I don't want to say I never got good advice from my family, but as far as like the music thing goes, they weren't really understanding what I'm trying to do. So I can't really think of something to say like this was great advice, you know? You know, they've been trying to be supportive as much as they can and as much as made sense to them, but at the same time, they were happy I'm going to pharmacy school, you know? Or they will mention quickly when someone introduces me, like, you know, he's a pharmacist also, because they're way more proud of that for some reason, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, I don't know. And that's what I see in our community, by the way, because with this whole open wounds thing, when I started visiting the schools and talking to the kids, and either performing the song or not even, just going and giving small lectures and kind of talking about, you know, the genocide and why it's important to, you know what I mean, get involved in stuff. And a lot of parents and teachers, they they would embrace me for that. They love it, but they would extra embrace me just because they knew, you know, I went to college and I was a pharmacist or whatever type of degree I would have. And that's just something in our community. And it is important and it is impressive. But that's just something that was always part of my family. So I can't really think of anything specific that they gave me as advice, to be honest.
Well,
shout out to my family, though. I love them. Don't get me wrong.
It makes you a double threat. You know?
Yeah, it does. It does. You know, and I, you know, I don't live with regrets. I think it's great. But, you know, just go for what you love. Trust me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't, it's not fun to just be one thing your entire lifetime. Like it's, you know.
No, I agree. But it's great to accomplish something to a certain level, and then you can go do all kinds of different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you trying to accomplish your main things in your early year, focus on really what you want to accomplish first. Get to a certain level. And then you know, branch out and do other things. You know, that's how I feel.
That makes sense. What about best advice you ever received from like an industry professional?
I would say, first of all, my partner Alex Cotto was the first one to sit me down and say everything that I'm telling you right now. Sit me down and tell me, you know, I know you think you're dedicated because in your heart, whatever, this is all you want to do. But you look at your, you know, your week and how you're like spending your hours and think, are you really seeing what other artists are sacrificing to compete with them? There's all these stories about rappers. They used to be homeless. They used to be dry. You know, they could have went probably and do something else, but no, they really wanted, that's all they saw themselves doing, you know?
Yeah.
So he was the first one to give me that advice. And then, you know, Sway from Sway in the Morning, he pulled me aside one time, one of the first times that I was on a show. And he told me, don't be afraid to push the fact that you're Armenian more than you are right now, you know? And that was right around the time we were just starting Open Wounds, and just him kind of saying it.
Yeah.
I was already in that lane, but I was always a little hesitant because, again, I didn't want to be, you know, put in the box of like the Armenian rapper, you know? My whole thing was always competing with just everybody else. But at the same time, he made me see that in the world of like 100 million rappers, that's what sets me apart at this moment.
Yeah.
It's just hip hop to represent where you're from, you know, don't be afraid, because I was kind of doing it, but maybe with some, he probably sensed some hesitation. So we just went full force since then, and it definitely helps. So shout out to Sway.
Good job, Sway. I love that advice.
Sway's a real
I
one,
agree.
Man.
I agree. It just makes you, different, but you have to be ready. Like when I would embrace me being Armenian in the entertainment industry, like I would get made fun of, you know, and and I just laughed. I would just laugh with it. Like I didn't get offended. It wouldn't bother me. I would almost see it as you're ignorant, I'm not, versus you're making fun of me. You know?
And that's actually exactly what it is. As you were saying it, I was thinking to myself, because people don't really know how to think about an Armenian. You know what I'm saying? So their ignorance makes them, you know, look at you weird.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Last closing questions. Do you think that the Armenian genocide will get worldwide recognition in our lifetime?
I think so. I feel like I have to believe so to keep, you know what I mean, to keep going. It's just with the way the world has changed with technology the last whatever decade. I feel, and I might be wrong, the last decade already so many more people know about the genocide than before, just because it's so much easier to get the message out. And it's getting bigger and bigger each year, I feel like. And I feel like there's going to come a time where they can't just ignore it. You know what I mean? It's more than just one little protest on one day, and they just, you know, kind of stay quiet and then move on with their life the following day. It's getting bigger and bigger. More and more people are talking about it. More and more, you know, people with power and influence are endorsing it. So, you know, we're just going to keep fighting until it happens. But I definitely believe so, yeah.
Could we just kind of imagine what that's going to be like? What's going to change? Like our wounds are open, or will become what? Like what is that going to be like?
Well, I mean, it'll probably be the starting process of closure in a way, you know. but in a because we've all kind of, when I thought of the term open wounds when I was writing this song, I feel like it kind of describes our feeling of a whole people. You know what I mean? So it's always just something, for some reason, that's always in us, and we're raised learning about it, and it just feels kind of, you know, when I go on other platforms and people kind of, I'll try to explain to them. I always say, like, just imagine your entire family got killed, you somehow survived, and then everyone knows who did it. There's proof everywhere, but no one does nothing about it, and they just say move on with your life. And then now that's not one person, but imagine a whole people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just something that's always in it. So I guess that would be the first step of like closure, and the following generations, you know, that wouldn't be something that's in the back of our minds.
Yeah.
But on another scale, is on another level, it would be, there has to be talk of like reparations, and like, you know, I'm not a politician, and I don't know exactly how that would work.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that's another big factor of the denial at this point. Like, how are they gonna make good on that? You know what I mean? It's not just, okay, we did it, my bad. You know, it's not gonna end there. So
yeah, no, of course not.
You know, it'll be a stain on their history, but then what?
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. But I think as you were talking and I was thinking about my question too, I thought once, you know, you have the worldwide recognition and the politics in their own place, I don't think we will ever stop talking about it. I think the movies need to continue to be made. I think the books need to be continue to be written, and the stories need to be constantly reiterated and told, and because we have to learn from the history, and we have to continue to tell the stories. Right. So
that's actually something that's something I always reiterate, is like, we have to tell the story so it doesn't repeat. And you know, obviously the example we all know of Hitler saying, who remembered the annihilation of the Armenians, and that's like a perfect example of how it happened. So absolutely it should continue, and hopefully more movies would be made, you know, and that's how people know and learn about history, right? That's how we know about other cultures and other things that happen. So that has to continue.
Yes. Well, Armine, thank you so much for spending all this time with me and everyone who's going to be watching it. I thank you for the work that you're doing. I think for me personally, I love that you have captured the attention of the youth. I love that. That's why I kept asking you, like, what advice do you have? Because to me, I think that you have a lot of kids who look up to you, and you have not taken that for granted for a minute. Like, you've been an amazing role model for a lot of kids growing up. And like, I remember when I was growing up, you know, I'm from a generation of Armenian Americans where it's like, you don't say you're Armenian. You know, you try to assimilate into the American culture as much as possible. So now it's, you know, it's really important that the kids are open to being, you know, to say, I'm Armenian American, or I'm American Armenian, however they want to associate, but to really distinguish themselves and say, I'm Armenian, and embrace their differences and their culture and their values, right?
Yeah, it's part of our identity. So I think, you know, when you're young and you're kind of finding yourself, it's really important to feel comfortable to embrace all of that, you know? And that's been the most inspiring thing for me, seeing how the young people have embraced me and embraced this whole movement and the topic, and kind of became kind of proud of, like, you know, it's so much more than just a t-shirt. People just became kind of proud to talk about it and rock it, and you know what I mean? And that's been really, really amazing to see. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody supporting.
Yes. Please make sure. You know, Thank you.
You've been there from the beginning, so we really appreciate you.
Yeah. I love everything that you're doing. And make sure you follow Armine on Instagram, on social media at RMEAN. And you also Pentagon LA, and you got Open Moods 1915. Make sure you follow all their Instagram accounts. They're very active on social media, which is awesome, because you're constantly, you know, I'm able to keep up to date, like, as far as what's happening with Armine, what's happening with the new store, what's happening with the Open Wounds, like any new gear you guys have. You know, you have the LA collection now at the store. So all these things, they're very, very good about posting things on social media. This is where we get all our content, including this live.
My team forces me to stay on that. So
yes,
I had to learn for a while, but I'm on it for sure.
Yes, perfect. So make sure everyone follow Armine on Instagram. And thank you for watching. Thank you, Armine, for joining us. And I can't wait to have you on again on your next projects or whatever you're working on next. Absolutely. So you can update us, okay? All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anna.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Armine, again, for coming on. Next up is our third brand partner, Droiple. Droiple is an LA-based internet marketing agency. They believe that internet marketing will take your business to the next level if you know what your next step is. They help businesses of all sizes, and they put the strategy together for you to figure out what is next for your business. Artirst, who is a partner at Droiple, and of course he's Armenian because all of our brand partners are either Armenian owned or Armenian related or help something Armenian associated. Artirst is a partner at Droiple, and he is a lifelong supporter of Armenian causes. He donates to many different Armenian organizations, including the Armenian Report. He's a huge supporter of the Armenian Report, so thank you so much. With that said, Droiple is offering our audience 10% off your next website or internet marketing consultation. And Artirst will do a run-through for you, give you the recommendations for your business and all that good stuff, and you will get 10% off your consultation. And moving forward, help you figure out your business and how to take it to the next level. Let me tell you, I know about internet marketing because I do all of my marketing online, and just spend your marketing dollars online. That's where people are. That's where it works. And Artirst is the one to help you. Because Artirst is so tech savvy, he created a landing page for us for the Armenian Report. So what you want to do is you want to go to droiple.com/the Armenian Report, and you will get to a landing page where you fill out your information, and Artirst will give you a call for the consultation, and you guys can take it from there. I promise you, internet marketing is where it's at. Support an Armenian-owned business, and he's ready to support you and your business. Thank you again to Armine for coming on the Armenian Report, sharing his story with us, and special thanks to our 3 brand partners, Henry's House of Coffee, Open Wounds 1915, and of course Droiple. Thank you so much for believing in the Armenian Report and for supporting us, and for making all of this possible for everyone to watch and learn about different Armenian artists, business, anyone influential who is going to be featured on the Armenian Report live podcast. Please make sure you're following the Armenian Report on Instagram and on Facebook, where you are going to get your daily dose of Armenian news, videos, stories are posted in the stories on Instagram and on Facebook. So make sure you follow along, you support, you engage, and you stay up to date. You're with it. I will see you guys on the next live.